Sunday
Oh,
morning, and welcome to the PinePoint Realty Show.
hey guys, Bob just confused the heck out of me. I'm sorry. I thought we were going live, and then we were going live, and then we're not going live, and then now we're live.
Well, we had
What's
some
up?
slight technical difficulties kind of going in. We were trying to pull some stuff in, and it wasn't quite working the way we had hoped it was going to. So yeah, there was a little confusion there back and forth at the last second. Are we live? Are we not live? So
I think we're live,
we are
Bob.
now live. So
I'm
welcome.
alive. I don't know about you, but I'm drinking the coffee, and
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Over the last few months, I have found that coffee's been kind of roughing up my belly. So about a month ago, I stopped drinking it after years and years of drinking coffee.
oh really?
Yeah, it was kind of messing with my belly, kind of cramping it up and stuff. It just wasn't feeling that great. So I haven't had a coffee in a month now.
Typically, yeah, that's typically why I stick with Aroma Joe's. But once in a while, I like having that. I don't know, just something about a nice, good coffee,
Yeah,
especially an iced coffee.
I would agree. And it's funny too, because sometimes I really like the smell of it, and other times I can't stand it. And especially if I'm not feeling well, oh my God, it almost wants to make me ill.
You can't stand the smell of coffee?
There are times when I can, and especially if I'm not feeling good.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Weird, Bob.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can hang out anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of one of those things. So as he says that, he bounces out, guys.
Just kidding. I'm back.
Whoa, he's back. That's awesome, man.
No. It's good, I guess. It's kind of weird still, but I think we can see eye to eye still.
Yeah. But I still do like Aroma Joe's. As a matter of fact, probably one of my favorite places to go.
I love Aroma Joe's.
They do have good coffee. I will give them that. I mean, as far as all the places where you can get coffee, they got probably one of the smoothest tasting coffees out there. And thanks to you, Zach, I'm kind of hooked on the Rush Energy drinks now.
Sorry, there's something about getting a surprise every day of going there and getting the rush of the day. You never know what you're gonna get, but it's always something good.
Yeah. It's almost kind of like Forrest Gump, right?
And then
like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, pretty much.
You never know what you're going to get.
Unless you see it and you're like, I don't want to see that, then we just go with the dinosaur for a dinosaur, right?
Oh, there you go. Zach's referring to him bringing me a dinosaur rush drink, and of course calling me a dinosaur in the process. But so anyway, it looks like we're going to have a halfway decent day today. Supposed to be up in the 50s, so that's cool. It was spitting snow on my way.
What happened to the storm? I thought we were supposed to get a bad storm.
Well, it's funny. I was actually up in the North Country yesterday doing a few showings up in Dexter, Sangerville, and Dover Foxcroft. And on my way back home, coming down through Waterville to Augusta, it started actually spitting snow for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was kind of feeling that we're probably going to get that snow. And by the time I got home, it was nothing but rain. So I'm actually glad for that. Yeah. I'd rather the rain.
Well, yesterday I was nervous because I've never driven the Buick down to Sanford. I've never driven it that far. So I'm like, check it out. And then coming in with a storm, I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about this, but no, got all the way and got a little missed when I got back to Auburn. But
right.
Actually, that brings up. So I can't wait. So my buddy Marty, I sold him a house last year.
Okay.
And he called me up yesterday, so I swung over to his house. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Geez, I hope everything's good. I know I got to check in with him today, but just like I said, we're here to help. Anybody that buys and sells with us, give us a call after the fact. We'll be over to check out to see if there's anything we can help with, or at least direct. Like I said, don't get me wrong, his situation, I don't know. I stopped over his house. He had like a soft spot in the front yard, and I can't figure out if I'm hoping it's not the sewer line.
Right.
Which would be awful.
Yeah, that would be.
But definitely gonna check in on him today. Like I said, it's weird.
Yeah.
So that's something else we do, Bob. You know that?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, earlier this week, I had one of my clients that just purchased a home from me, a few months ago, and they actually had let the sellers stay in there for another 45 days after closing. So they've now just recently taken over the home, and I guess the old sellers never used the dishwasher before. And they decided to go ahead and do so. And unfortunately, it was running for about an hour, and I guess it was leaking all over the place. And
oh no! Oh no!
Leaked down into the basement and through the drop ceiling panels and things like that. So they were a little, concerned and things like that. What do I do and things. And but the nice thing is I had left it with them that if you ever need anything, just give me a call. I'm there to help. So we were able to talk it through, give them some suggestions, provide some resources, and get that taken care of for them so that they can move on. They're loving the house. So, just their first little blip. It happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, welcome to home ownership. And I know it sucks. We sell a really awful product, but it gives you an awesome feeling. It really does. The feeling of home ownership and knowing that you're going home to your place.
Yeah.
It's just there's problems everywhere you go.
So, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even if you buy a brand new car,
it's better because it's your problem. You have full control of it. Nobody else is controlling it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to bring that up. It was an interesting call. I'll keep you guys updated on what it ends up being. We're not sure. But no, that is just really interesting. I've never seen that before.
It is interesting. Yeah. But the nice thing is, one way or the other, we're there to help and do whatever we can to make it so that, again, your journey isn't a difficult one.
And again, what do we always say, Bob? You just said it too.
Talk is free. Give us a call.
Right. Give us a call. Our services aren't, but talk is free. We can talk.
Yeah.
And honestly, who the hell met a real estate agent that doesn't like to talk?
I haven't met a couple, but yeah, by and large,
bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, there are a few of them out there, but you're right. By and large, I think that's people that are involved in sales and customer service. I would hope that they enjoy talking because it's all part of it.
But the funny thing is, I tell everyone this, and I don't think anybody believes me, but the second I get home, I don't want to talk.
Well, unless you have to, and again, if it's that client on the other end of the phone,
we're
all in. But you're right. You're right. Unfortunately, sometimes the calls to the family wind up suffering because sometimes it's the last thing I really want to do when I get home. But you got to
guys, see that even proves the point. We like talking to you more than we talk to our own family. That's pretty bad.
It's true. I talk to my clients sometimes a lot more than I do my own family.
We're awful.
It is what it is. We're there to help, right?
Yep, for sure. But like I said, again, talk is free. Like I said, we're here before, we're here during. Oh, there's the dinosaur.
Yeah.
I think a raptor just passed by the camera.
Yeah, it was my leopard.
But no, like I said, we're here to talk for free in the beginning. We're here to talk in the middle, and we're here to talk after.
Yeah.
Again,
absolutely.
Talk is free. Give us a call. We're here to try to help. If we can't help, unfortunately, we can only go to so far. But at least maybe we might be able to guide you in the right direction to get you where you need to be. Whether it's finding services, finding somebody to help fix something, or just listening. Sometimes people just need somebody to listen. And that's what we're here for, the biggest part.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So what I'd like you all to do, whether you're here live today or you're watching us in replay, because honestly, we do find a lot of folks actually find us on Facebook and actually watch our show in replay. So what I'd like you to do for me is make sure that you comment in the comments section. Let us know who you are, where you're coming from. And if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, let us know, okay? Because we'd love to go ahead and interact with you and hopefully answer some of those questions either directly or possibly one of our future shows. Because guess what? Like you've always been told, if you've got a question, there's probably 3 or 4 other people that have that same question. So yeah, let us know. Call us, yeah. There you go. So
Bob, we got some good information coming out today, and actually, this is one of my favorite topics because this is one of the nearest things to my heart is going into a house and understanding what's going on with it. And today for sellers and buyers, you know, we're going to go over the property disclosures a little bit. And one of the things we're hoping to point out too is some tips to get your house ready that aren't visible. Things that you wouldn't walk into and say, oh gosh, but keep in mind, these items are more important than your cosmetics. This will make break a deal. But yeah, let's let me pull up that property disclosure, Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can figure it out. Let's see.
Yeah. You just need to go down to the share. There you go. Perfect.
Is it perfect or are we good? Because I'm on the page.
We're at the top of the property disclosure. Yeah. So if you head out to where you pull the property disclosure up, you can scroll up and down on it.
Yeah. So basically, hold on, just let me get this on the other screen so I can see. So this is a property disclosure form. I know a lot of you probably have seen it before, but as real estate agents, this is the one thing in the state of Maine, the MAR, our Maine Association of Realtors, gives us to use for documents. And this is what we're going to see before we go to see your property. A lot of times when a buyer requests to view your property, this is where we'll pop over just to see. And we're going to go through some of the major items just so you know when you are getting your house ready to sell. Just don't look at the floor and think, oh, a new floor will ding. Well, this stuff's really going to pop up even more. Bob, do you want to start out or do you want me to start out?
Yeah, I can get started. Okay. So basically the first section of the property disclosures talks about the water supply. Okay, so obviously there are a number of different, shouldn't say a number, there's a couple different types of water supplies that we can be looking at. Obviously you have public water, city or town is providing it to you. And when we have that situation, obviously the town or the city usually takes care of the water and the water quality that you're receiving. So a lot of those other questions underneath that really don't apply when it comes to public water.
And when it comes to public water, the cities typically test once a year, twice a year. You can always go down either on their website or go down to the water district to get a copy of those tests.
Correct.
If you'd like them.
Correct. So even though it doesn't apply as far as having to fill this portion out, Zach's absolutely right. You can still check on the quality of the water, what the water tests have come out, and if you are having any issues in your municipality, because obviously last thing we want to be doing is drinking water that isn't good to drink, you know. Mm-hmm. So the other types, obviously, it would be a private source. So those come either in the form of usually a dug well or a drilled well. You want to give a description as to what the difference between those two are, Zach?
So there are the two. So a lot of times, if it's a dug well, you're going to be able to tell. It's one of those genuine cement cylinders typically. There are other shapes out there. There's squares, and there's also rock dug wells. There's also a couple other wells too where it's called a point driven well, which is similar to a drilled well but not as deep. It's basically a needle that goes into a water vein, and usually it's a natural spring versus a water vein, because water veins are typically a lot deeper than where you get with a point driven. But the biggest differences between dug and drilled is the depth. With a dug well, you got to be able to get down as deep as the well. So 12 plus feet is going to be really hard. So a lot of times when you're working off a dug well, you're actually working on surface water that's been filtered with the dirt and the rock around it. So whenever it rains, it sifts into the ground and up into the well itself, creating a safe haven. Drilled well is, one of those big pipes that come out of the ground with a cap. Then you see the white line down the side for the electrical. You'll see them more common. Those are becoming more common today just because the water, the amount of water that you get from them is a lot more than a dug well. Plus, it can be a lot cleaner, or it can kind of go both ways. It can be, and that's really what we're here to talk about. Is one of the things, if you have a private well, is you might want to get it tested before you list the home. Tests cost anywhere from $20 to $100, maybe a little bit more in some cases. It matters what you're testing for. But being ready ahead of time, understanding that you're not going to have that surprise when a buyer does a water test, can always be a good thing. And then the other fact too is if you already have the water tests, providing it, that'll help. Yeah.
I just clicked away so they can see your beautiful face while you're talking, Zach.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Like, if you want to know what was happening.
Why am I looking at myself? So yeah, like I said, drilled and dug well, not really a big difference. Like I said, it's just the difference is one's 12 and under feet, and one's hundreds of feet. Drilled wells will give you more water most of the time. Not always. Drilled wells do go dry, so there's always that risk out there, and lakes go dry too. So look it out west.
Yep, it happens.
In Maine, it's not as known. The other cool thing is you can look up your well on the state of Maine well log. What's it called, Bob? The well registry. Yeah, the well registry.
There you go.
So then let's enough talking about wells. Let's go to the other end of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like your idea though, Zach, about a seller actually getting a water test ahead of time that they can actually provide to their pool of possible buyers, obviously through their listing agent, but that they can provide to that pool of buyers. So that when that buyer is looking at it, that's not a concern to them anymore, because you now have that water test. They're not thinking about the fact that, oh shoot, I'm going to have to test this. Is it going to be good? Is it not? So on and so forth. So great idea. Sure.
And then when it comes to wastewater, obviously for your public and private, you still got to worry. Your public line can be just as expensive as a septic system, just because most of the time you are responsible up to the connection in the street. Right. And it's not the line itself that's expensive. It's actually just the road. If you have to tear up the road in the process, you need flag people, you need police possibly, and then just the road work alone. So you end up in the tens of $20,000s of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
For a street. So these are other things that a seller could go ahead and have looked at beforehand. Or if they're private, so if you have a private septic system, at least getting it pumped. If it's the middle of winter, probably not the best case. Well, if you're going to live there, it's not a big deal. If you're living there, it's not a big deal. But most septic companies will tell you not to pump it if it's going into winter, especially if it's going to sit vacant.
Right.
Just because you won't have the not fermentation, but anyways, that chemical process of keeping the cement system, the septic system warm. Right. But at least having it pumped, that's always a good thing. And that only ranges between $300 and $400 usually, depending on where you live. That's always because it's more about the disposal charge than anything, and then obviously the company's truck charge. Running a truck is expensive.
Yep.
But and then, like I said, the big thing is if you're really concerned, if the septic company, when they're pumping, they bring up the fact that maybe you had a lot of wipes and stuff you shouldn't have in your septic tank, that might be a good trigger to possibly get your septic checked ahead of time. And it's up to you. That now we're running into another $350, $400 for the septic inspection. But if you've got solids in that leach field, that's where the big money is right there. If they have to come in and remove everything that was there and bring in all new materials, price tag adds up to the 10, 20 range.
Yeah.
So those are always big things to think of as a seller, because these are going to be the things that really make or break a deal. Don't get me wrong, you might get lucky where the buyer comes in and doesn't want to do inspections. But, it's always that thought, did I leave a burden for somebody else? I don't know about you, but it kills me.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And again, great idea, because one of the concerns that, that buyers have obviously coming in is, how expensive are all these things going to be for me to go ahead and have checked out? And if there's issues, so on and so forth. And Zach's right. It can be a very small investment, to help get your house sold sooner, and in a lot of cases for more money.
And actually, yeah, because if a buyer's coming in and everything's placed in front of them, they're going to be a lot more trusting and trustworthy because they don't have any questions in their mind.
Yep.
You got to figure when a buyer walks into a house, the more questions they have, the less money the property is worth in their head.
Yep. The thing I hate the worst is when I look at a property disclosure, and I get that it happens, disclosure, and just everything is unknown. There's no answers.
And they live there.
And yeah, and that's the worst case, especially if they live there. A lot of times you see it with estate situations or people, they've been renting it out and they haven't lived there for years. But you're right, especially if they've lived there, even worse.
Right. It's like, did you not take care of the house? So what am I walking into for an issue?
Absolutely.
So then, like I said, we'll scrolling on down. The rest of the stuff is more just about your septic design, making sure ahead of time, maybe getting that ready for your agent to have ready. This will tell how many bedrooms your house is good for. And keep in mind, when you're shopping for bedrooms, typically when they're doing septic designs, every bedroom equals 2 adult humans. No pets. They don't consider pets, but I don't know how many dogs poop in the toilet either. So, but no,
I get the cats to do that, and it didn't work.
So, like I said, if you're a family of 5 and you're questioning, oh shoot, is this septic good for it? If you have 3 kids and it's a 3-bedroom house, every bedroom's considered for 2 adult people. Yeah, 2 adult people. So you're definitely not going to have to worry about that too much when it comes to that. But if you have 4 people in each room, well, then you might have an issue.
Yeah.
But back to the disclosures. Now we're talking about heating systems. This is always a good thing. So getting your furnace cleaned, making sure if you're not on a schedule, checking when the last time you cleaned it, because I don't know about you, but I forget everything. I know I go into houses and I look, oh shoot, I didn't get it done last year. We'll get it done this year. Just making sure when your furnace was last maintained. Another thing too is if you have a boiler, making sure the person that's cleaning is actually vacuuming out the dust. I'm not a furnace specialist. I don't claim to be a furnace specialist, but that is the one key issue I find with homeowners and complaints. Typically, you hire somebody to come clean your boiler or furnace, and they only change out knobs and filters.
Right.
Or not knobs, gaskets and stuff. Gaskets and filters. And yeah, they don't actually clean the soot out. They don't go the extra mile to actually clean it. So when you're hiring somebody, make sure they're actually cleaning it, because that's where a lot of your fires come out. Furnace fires is because the soot's not being cleaned out. So you're getting a spark of fire where it shouldn't be.
Yep. Yeah. And creosote, will definitely go up real quick, and it's tough to put out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then down here, we're going to talk about chimneys. So chimneys, getting your chimney looked at once in a while. This will help prevent any fire, especially if you're burning wood, for sure, because you're going to get a lot more creosote in your chimney versus a gas furnace, obviously. Mm-hmm. Underground storage tanks. If you have those, if you have the DEP paperwork ready for your agent, that helps too. Asbestos. Asbestos, I understand where homeowners don't know. One of the things, if I wasn't a real estate agent, I wouldn't know half the stuff I know, Bob. So don't worry about it. If you don't know what the asbestos is, ask the agent. That's what we're here for too. And again, talk is free. So if you are wondering, we can definitely stop them by. Keep in mind, we're not home inspectors, we're not specialists, but we've seen enough of it where we should be able to point it out for the most part. In some cases, when it comes to like asbestos tiles, that's more of a measurement type, and we couldn't tell you. But asbestos siding, I could tell you asbestos siding left and right. Yep. I could tell you asbestos around your piping for sure.
Yep, those are usually pretty noticeable.
Yep. So radon air and radon water, that's your new lead paint issue. That's one of the newer issues in the past 5-10 years that have come up and become one of the bigger tickets. So radon water is the big ticket item. Radon air is actually not as bad. This is always something that you could do on your own as a homeowner. You can't legally do it for the sale of the home, where you have to be certified with the state in order to do any radon testing. for a real estate transaction. But if you wanted to check your radon levels before, there's no harm on that. And we can definitely, as a real estate agent, put those results on here for the buyer. You can go down to A&L Laboratories in Auburn. There's Northeast Labs. I'm not sure where that one is exactly. But if you needed a source to do the testing for the lab, give us a call. Again, talk is free again. Give us a call. We can help you take care of that.
And honestly, Zach, I can't tell you the amount of times that just having these tests, already done, be it that the seller did it just prior to, or maybe they just bought the home a year or two ago and have those results still.
Even if they have it 5 years before, sometimes it helps. Although, as a real estate professional, we're going to tell a buyer that radon levels can change every year.
Yep,
it changes all the time. So.
But it certainly goes back to to your argument as far as them feeling more comfortable and
the comfort.
With what's going on.
Piece. The more comfortable somebody is, the more things they're willing to write off.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to get buyers to write off anything, because don't get me wrong, if I'm the agent, I'm going to be trying to protect the buyer as much as possible.
Yep.
But radon water. So radon air typically is a $1,000 to $2,000 fix. Depending on your basement, and this is where you want to talk to a specialist on the actual cost for this. But that's the lower cost one. The radon water, it really depends on what kind of well you have. If you have a dug well, you're probably not going to have radon water. Drilled wells are more common for radon water, just because the drilled wells coming from an underground water source where radon air can be trapped, and as you open up your faucet, it's literally pumping up into your face as the water's coming out if you're standing over the faucet. It's not, I guess there's some in the water, but from what I've heard, it won't affect you as much.
Yeah, it's the breathing, which you would think is intuitive, but yeah.
But for the most part, the problem is when you're opening up that faucet, you're leaning over and you're breathing it straight in.
Yeah,
like a super dose of it right away.
Yeah.
Radon water systems are more in the $5,000 range. They're more expensive. They're more, they take up more room, so they can be a pain in the butt. This is the fun one, Bob. Methamphetamine. I love closing. Methamphetamine is on here. This is one of the newest ones. It's not really the big hype one like radon is, but methamphetamine, it's because it's not, I don't believe it's for actually using meth. It's when you're cooking meth.
Yeah.
When you're cooking meth, it boils off this residue that sticks to the wall that literally, if you touch it with your bare hands, you get an instant high, can overdose.
Right.
And kids have been known, this has been known to kill kids in a house that you wouldn't know, just because nobody knows it was being cooked in there.
Exactly.
So yes, we joke about this one, I'll be honest, but it is serious.
It is pretty serious. Yeah.
Lead-based paint. This is a good one. It's funny, lead-based paint, it's a very serious thing, but it's a very simple thing to take care of. Mm-hmm. Unless you're going to have your home remediated completely, have them come out and take it out. For the most part, with lead-based paint, all you're doing is literally painting it and sealing it. Every year, making sure you're wiping down areas around windows. And windows are the notorious problems in doors. If you have a painted window or door, that might be something you want to look into replacing. It has to do with friction dust. When you open and close your door, if that paint's rubbing on each other, you get the dust molecules that you're breathing in, or it's on your hands, your feet, and you're just tracking it everywhere. So little kids, what they'll do is walk around and they'll be touching the hand, feet, licking the hands. Yep. And that's a lot of times how lead paint is transmitted and consumed.
Yep.
Yes,
just encapsulate it, right?
Huh?
Just encapsulate it. It's really
just encapsulate it. Wipe it. If you have it, make sure you're wiping around those windows down on a daily basis, or at least a weekly basis. And then just making sure you throw a coat of paint on it once a year or every other year when you start to see it start to wear down. But definitely with windows, windows are the first thing you want to go for lead paint to fix. Right. Is replacing those windows with vinyl window that we don't have that friction dust. Toxic material, landfill, radioactive material, we don't really see that much. Usually if it's an old landfill, we have to watch out for that. But we usually see that when it comes to underground storage tanks and such.
Right.
Going down to life estates, leases, right-of-ways, first right of refusals. This is as an agent, we usually look into this stuff. We'll ask you questions, but knowing these, you're going to know if you have a first right of refusal, and you're going to know if there's a life estate involved. Yep. A homeowners association. Let's see. Let's get down to flood hazards. As a real estate agent, if you need help locating this, a lot of times all you have to do is go to the FEMA flood maps and type in your address, and you can see if your property is in flood zone or not. If you are in flood zone, typically you're probably going to know you're in a flood zone. But if you don't, that's where you can go. Let us know. We'll give you the link for it too. We don't mind helping there. Scrolling down, let's see, general. So this is so knowing if you have a homestead exemption. Actually, right now, if you go look at your tax bill next time and check if you have a homestead exemption. If you're living in your home full time and you don't have this on your taxes, you definitely want to go down to your town hall and sign up for it. This will help you save around $300 to $600 a year on your homeowners taxes, your property tax, not homeowners tax, property taxes. We try to tell people it's the sale of the property, but I know it's one thing. I'm sure not everybody's going to stick in their mind. I got to sign up for that. Got to sign up for that. Got to sign up for that.
Yeah, it's one you don't want to miss.
No, there's a lot of property savings, and they won't backdate it. I tried to get them to backdate it, and they just won't. I don't know. You know how the city is. They want their money.
I wonder why that is.
If you're on waterfront,
I want my money if I'm backdated.
Well, yeah, they want more.
Yeah.
Are there any violations if you're on a waterfront? If you have a forest management or harvest plan, you're probably in tree growth. You're going to know this. If you don't know what those are, don't worry about it.
You're probably not in it.
You're probably not in it.
Yeah.
The other thing is checking your roof, making sure there's no current leaks, seeing if the roof needs replaced or can it be repaired, making sure that's up to par, because that's going to save your whole investment. That's the rain cap. You don't want that going wrong. Foundation basement, making sure there's adequate sump pump in there if you do get a wet basement, or when does it get wet, knowing when it does and such. And then the biggest thing is making sure that if you start a project, you finish a project. That's probably the biggest one I find in a lot of homes. People start projects and just don't finish them.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that, Zach, where you see brand new windows put in, brand new doors put in, then nobody puts the frame work up around it.
Yeah.
It's not that big a job to finish that, and it'll look so much better. And again, with a lot of different types of financing, they're going to require it anyway.
Yep, for sure. No, it's like I said, that's the biggest thing is a lot of your financing has to do with just the house has got to be finished. When you don't have siding on the outside, when you don't have windows, or you have broken windows, or your roof's leaking. If the roof looks horrible, it might go through, believe it or not. And that's one of the misconceptions. And one of the things that we pride ourselves at PinePoint is making sure that we're consistently learning about how houses are financed and what's the best way to get them through. How can we make your dream come true easier? That's what we pride ourselves in making sure we can do our job better.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that great information there on that property disclosure.
Yep.
So if you are looking at a home or you're looking to get into a home, looking to sell your home for that matter,
Yep.
one of the first things you probably want to do is what? call us.
Call us.
Again, talk is free. Like Zach says, our services aren't free, but talk is definitely free. And we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you. We'll help you through this process. We'll help you through understanding what it takes to fill this out, to go ahead, and if you are any issues, what might be done to go ahead and remedy those things, so that when you're putting this property disclosure together and putting your house on the market, you're actually doing things that are going to attract buyers, are going to make them feel more comfortable, and ultimately they're more likely to put an offer in on your home. And if you get multiple offers, here we go. You're getting top dollar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you have multiple people there, they're going to pay as much as they're going to pay, and that's all you're getting.
Yep.
Remember, a value. There's no such thing as real value. Value is only how much one person is willing to pay.
Yeah, exactly. And we see that in other industries. I mean, collectibles. I mean, they're probably the greatest example of that.
Yep.
You ask what the value is on something, and honestly, it's really what somebody's willing to pay you.
And it matters what is pulling at the time. If you listen to any shows, you have your professionals come in. They're like, well, this hasn't been pulling for a while. 5 years back, this would have got this, but now it's not. Luckily, homes are a commodity that are needed. It's not a want. So that is one advantage why value will always be there. There is no high spot, low spot. A lot of your high, low spots have to do with the economy and what's going on, whether people have the money or not. That's really going to be the question. Because you can only get as much as people can pay. You can't get more than that.
So. Yep. And obviously, a lot of times it might ultimately depend on the appraisal. And if that doesn't come out, if you're willing to pay the extra amount in your own pocket.
And again, appraisal, keep in mind, is only a one person's opinion. It's not a
snapshot of the moment in time. Yeah, absolutely.
So two appraisals are not alike. So, but yeah, I think it's that time, Bob.
Well, I was just going to say, I think this was some great information today. I really do. I think really important information. So if you have any questions on anything we've gone over today, by all means, give us a call. All right, because we'd love to go ahead and talk to you, explain it. And like I said earlier, if you happen to be here, jot down a little comment. What you like most about the show? What you'd like to see on the show? If you happen to watch us in replay, same thing. Let us know who you are, where you're watching us from, and let us know what your most burning questions are, because we'd love to answer them and maybe make us put a segment together. And if you provide us with the information or the idea for that section, we'll give you a shout out. How's that?
Sounds like a plan, Bob.
All right.
But until then, talk is free. Our services aren't, but talk is free. Give us a call.
Expect an amazing day, guys. Take care.
Take care.